Welcome to this partnering platform tutorial. My name is Greg Mannix. I'm VP of International Business Development and General Manager for Europe at Life Science Nation. And I'm going to hang on just a minute or so because there's still people logging on. And don't pay any attention to that clock you can see on my partnering platform. My computer is out of sync and it's running about 3 minutes fast. Don't know why that happens, never happened before. But yeah, it's just after 3:01 and there's still people logging on. So thank you for joining us today. And we'll get started in just a minute. Okay, let's get started. So welcome to the Digital Resi conference taking place in November. It's a 3-day conference, as you know, November 16th through 18th, which means you'll have 3 full days. And I mean full days because the partnering platform we're going to see today is open 24 hours over those 3 days. And that gives you, many opportunities to book meetings with investors. We'll also see today how this partnering platform is particularly useful for identifying the partners that you want to meet with, because we make an effort to make it easy for you to identify those people who you want to meet with and give you as much information as possible about those different players, especially investors and strategic partners like big pharma and big med tech. So we'll see how to navigate that in just a moment. Okay, so you all should have received your login token. The token is a relatively new modality, so you shouldn't need a password to log into the system. Once you use that token the first time, you'll be able to log in directly without the need for a password in the future. Now, if you were to change computers or for whatever reason are not able to log on, just reach out to us at resi@lifesciencenation.com and we can reset a password for you manually and you'll be able to get back on. Also, if you don't use that token to log in, it will expire in about a week. So be sure to log in before then if you haven't already. And any question, any difficulty that comes up over the next 3 weeks leading up to the conference, your point of contact is always resi@lifesciencenation.com. We will get back to you as soon as possible and try to resolve any issues. Okay, so once you log into the system, it will look like this. This is the home page of the partnering platform. And the first thing you will want to do is create a profile for your company and for yourself. And that's really important because anyone who wants to look at you, to look at your company and decide whether to take a meeting with you will be able to read about what you're doing and see some information about your company that you will create here. So the first thing you'll want to do is go to Account. And over on the left-hand side, it will say Edit and the name of your company. So my company is Life Science Nation. You click there and you just follow the steps. There are many different sections depending on which type of company you are. So if you're developing therapeutics, check that, etc. These filters will allow other people to find you. So if you're developing a small molecule, if you're developing stem cells, if you're developing whatever, or if it's a medical device, be sure to click off those filter values so that people can find you. And then I recommend that you upload your logo. I think it really helps. So when people are scrolling through the platform, they'll be able to see not only the name of your company, but your logo. And that helps identify you and it helps people remember you. And it looks better on the platform as people are going through. So once you have set up your company profile, then go to edit and your name. So this would be my profile, and I have not set mine up yet. But here you can put in your job title and your title if you're a doctor, professor, or whatever, if you want. And here you can put in a short bio. And I think this is always a good idea so that people have an understanding of who they're talking to. I think it's great to just put your short bio there. And you can also upload here a headshot photograph of yourself. So, now you will have a complete profile with information about your company and information about yourself that will make partnering easier and more effective for you. Okay. The next thing you'll want to do is go to schedule, because as I mentioned earlier, the partnering platform is running for 24 hours a day over these 3 days. So it actually will open November 16th, which is exactly 3 weeks from today, at 12:30 a.m. Eastern Time, USA. That's New York, Boston, etc. And you'll see the conference time zone, which is Eastern Time, in black, and in green, you'll see your local time zone. So I'm located in Europe, I'm 6 hours ahead, and I can see my local time zone here. So I don't have any problems with taking a meeting at 6:30, so I can leave that open. But if I want to block off times because I have another commitment or because it's getting too late, let's say I don't want to take any meetings after 10 p.m., I can just click on available and block off those times, okay, etc. So this is really important to do this, because as you are reaching out to investors, if they accept a meeting and you haven't blocked off the times you don't want to take a meeting, it's very possible the meeting will book at some ungodly hour in your time zone. So you don't want that to happen. Be sure to manage your availability. You have all 3 days here, and you can manage which times you want to be available. And speaking of managing your schedule, I highly recommend that you check out the different sessions that are happening, and you'll be able to see those here on the sessions page. They're not all uploaded yet because a lot of the sessions are still being assembled and finalized, but here you can see some of the sessions that are taking place. So we're looking at day 1, November 16th, and you can see there's an oncology innovation panel. There's a fireside chat about the future of aging in place. So you see the different things that are happening throughout the day. And the content is really an important part of the conference, and you have a great opportunity to learn and also to engage with the people who are speaking, the people who are presenting, because all of the content is live streamed, and there's an opportunity to interact, to ask questions at any of the sessions. So let's say, for example, you want to attend the Angels and Family Office panel. This is always a very popular one. You just click there, you get some information. There will be information about who's speaking on this panel. It's not uploaded yet, but over the next 3 weeks, all of the content will be completed. And if you want to attend that panel, just click Add to My Schedule, and it will automatically book to your schedule and block off that time from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time, US. A little bit late for me, from 11 to 12, but I can handle it. So that's the way it works. This is how you'll manage your schedule over the next several weeks. But the important thing, and what we really want to focus on in today's webinar, is how to use this platform to get the most meetings possible with the people you want to meet with. And I'm assuming that for most of you, that's meeting with investors and potential strategic partners. and potentially some service providers who might have services that will, come in handy for your business. So you can find everybody who's attending the conference on the search tab. So let's click on search. And here you can search by organizations, by company name, or by attendee name if you know who you're looking for. But let's leave it on organizations. And now we're going to filter for the types of investors that are a fit for my, fictitious company. So let's just do an example here. Let's say I'm looking for investors. So I'm going to click on investors. Investors includes all of these different types of investors: angels, corporate VCs, foundations, family offices, all the way through to venture capital, including big pharma, big biotech, these potential strategic partners. But we can leave that blank because in our first search, we want to keep it broad. But I want to narrow it down. Let's say I'm developing a drug. So I'm biotech therapeutics. And the indication that my drug is, for example, cancer, so oncology. Now we're down to 120 potential investors, but I don't want to bother investors who don't invest in an early stage company. Let's say I'm preclinical stage. So we would say biotech phase of development, preclinical. So from the 120, now we're down to 99. And I know that these investors will potentially invest in an early stage company still in preclinical phase. So now I have a list of companies, a list of investment firms to look at. And for each one, I can click on this little arrow next to the name, and I can expand the section. So this is what I was referring to earlier when I said that we try to give you as much information as possible so that you can identify the investors who are the best fit for you. And here we have information that's taken in a personal interview by one of our investor research staff to get this information. So typically invest over $10 million, usually Series A through Series C. They invest in the US, China, and Western Europe. So, this is really useful information. And then, you get a little bit of information about the areas where they invest. So therapeutics, healthcare IT, diagnostics. So they're very broad. They also invest in all of these indications. They're looking for preclinical phase companies in biotech. So you get a lot of really good information. Now, this is where your strategy for partnering really becomes important. You want to reach out to the investors that you think are a fit for you, and you want to increase your possibilities of getting a meeting. So I'm going to quickly switch over to a presentation. And these are my tips for getting the most out of the partnering platform. So hopefully you can see my screen, but if you follow these 4 steps, you will get a better result, and you will get more meetings than if you don't follow these steps, and if you don't follow up, especially with investors. So the first thing you're going to do is to create your profile, as we mentioned, and then you're going to develop an outbound meeting request message, and we'll look at that in a moment. But the important thing here is that when you reach out to the investor, they will get in their inbox in the partnering platform your message requesting a meeting. They'll also get it in their email, and this is really their first glimpse at you and your company. So you don't want to, and this is a common mistake that I see, you don't want to make your message too short and too void of information. You want to be sure to offer the key information that the investor will want to see about your company, and to do it in a relatively concise way but for it to be compelling as well. And we'll look at a sample in a minute. And then, you saw that when we did the search, we came up with about 90 potential investors. When you read through the criteria, some of them will not be a fit for you. But let's say that of those 90-something investors, 80 of them are a fit. Then be sure to reach out to all of those investors, all 80. Make as many meeting requests as possible, because that's why you're attending the conference, to meet investors, to talk to people, to tell your story. And it's a numbers game. The investors are very busy. There's a lot of competition to get their time and to be able to have a meeting with them. So you want to reach out to as many as possible. And you will see that number grow over the next 3 weeks, because there are still investors registering. We'll get to that in a minute. So request as many meetings as you think are a good fit for you and your stage of development. And then extremely important is to follow up. If you send one meeting request and that's it, say you send that today or tomorrow, and over the next 3 weeks, you don't follow up with that investor, you will miss out on opportunities. I can guarantee that. But if you follow up frequently, I would say at least 4 times over the next 3 weeks, follow up with those investors who haven't responded. That will make a difference. It will help you get on that investor's radar. They'll see your name popping up in their inbox, and there's a better chance that they will take a look at your company and decide whether to take a meeting with you or not. So if you follow these 4 steps, you will see the results. You will get a better result. And I can say that from experience. We've been doing this for quite a while now, and I've seen which companies are successful getting a full slate of meetings. And I think the record is 40 meetings over 3 days, which is crazy, but it can happen. It can really happen. And it depends on your technology, and it depends on what type of investors you're looking to meet with, but anywhere from 10 to 25 meetings is a very good result. And, using these four steps, you will get the best result possible. Also, what to include in your profile on the partnering platform is important. You can include up to 2 documents. So this is a 1-page data sheet that we think is really useful. You can use something like this. And you should definitely put a short, non-confidential investor deck about your company. And in our mind, that's 10 to 12 slides. It doesn't need to be more. It's not telling your full story. It's highlighting the most important points about your company that an investor can quickly go through if interested, and decide whether to take a meeting. So you can upload up to 2 documents to your profile on the platform. You'll see where to do that. And what I said earlier, very important to write a compelling outbound meeting request message. And these are some of the points that we think are really important to include. Introduce yourself correctly, introduce your company, give a little information about your company that is important. Like, are you spinning out of a famous lab or a well-known hospital or university? Where are you located? And then briefly give your key value proposition, your elevator pitch. It can be a short paragraph that says, what makes your company special? Why is it a good investment opportunity? Why would the investor want to meet with you? What stage of your fundraising campaign are you in? So if you have already raised grant money, mention that, that you've raised SBIR grants if you're in the US, or maybe a Horizon 2020 grant if you're in Europe. Mention those funding milestones, because they're really important. Or maybe you already have equity investment from other investment firms. Mention that. And then be sure to talk about how much money you're raising, because that's one of the most important things that investors want to understand about your company. It could be that an investor has a criteria of never investing under a certain amount, say $5 million. And if you're raising $2 million, it's clear that you're not a fit for that investor. So, don't waste your time, don't waste the investor's time. Just go ahead and put that in your message. And here we have an example, a sample message from a past Resi conference. This was a medical device company, I believe. And what's important about this message is that it gives you an idea of how long the message should be and the types of information that can be included. There's no single rule, but you can see that it's really quite complete. And I will be happy to send these slides to you after the conference, so you can have a look and read through it at your leisure. And you need to craft your own message, and it has to be in your own voice. But don't make it too short where you're not giving enough information, because that will probably lead to you missing some important meanings that you could get. So write a good message, send it to as many investors as possible. And then, very important to follow up. So when you follow up, just a quick note on what to include in those follow-ups. When you follow up with investors, add additional information, send a little bit different message. So when you follow up for the first time, put the focus on your technology and give some information that maybe you didn't mention in your first message. So include a little bit more information about your technology, what makes it better, cheaper, faster, more efficient, whatever. And talk a little bit about that. In your second follow-up, you can focus on the market that you're addressing. That's super important. Are you addressing a large market or a niche market? Is there an unmet medical need? Or are you offering something that is a big leap ahead and a better treatment, whatever. In your third follow-up, focus on your team. Team is so important, and team can be your direct team that's working on the project with you. It can also be your advisors, because many times your scientific advisory board will add a lot of value to your story. So if that's the case, include them, or your board of directors, whatever be the case. And then, on your final follow-up, so, I mentioned to send at least 4 follow-ups over the next 3 weeks after you start reaching out. You can send a link to one of your documents, your tear sheet or your deck. Tear sheet is that one-page data sheet, and I can send you a template of a one-page data sheet that we think is effective if you want to have a look at that. So I will send you both the slides and the template for the tear sheet, and you can have a look at those and see if they might work for you. And so when you upload any document to your partnering profile, it will automatically create a link to that document. And you can just copy that link and paste it into your message. Okay, so very, very easy to do. We create that link for you as soon as you upload any document to your profile. Okay, let's go back. To the partnering platform. So let's assume that you have created your partnering message and you want to meet with this particular investor because you think they're a fit for you. You can either click on book a meeting or send a message or bookmark. These are the options you have here. If this investor is not a fit for you, I recommend that you bookmark it immediately. Because when you go back through the partnering platform, as I hope you will many times over the next 3 weeks, checking out what new investors have registered and looking to see how many meetings you've booked and to see any messages that you've been sent. As you go through this partnering platform in the future, it's just very helpful to bookmark the ones that are not a fit for you, so you don't waste time reading through those again. And it's a lot of investors. It's hard to remember, the information that you read about each one. So be sure to bookmark it. Now, if you see another investor, let's say 5 AM Ventures from San Francisco, and yet you say, yes, I would really like to meet with this investor. So click directly on book a meet. Don't click on send a message. If you send a message, that message will get to Katie in this chance, in this instance, but she won't be able to accept the meeting and have it book automatically. To do that, you always want to send book a meeting. Okay, so click on the blue tab, book a meeting. It opens up this other tab here, and here is where you will put in that message that you have crafted, that you have thought about carefully, and have made compelling and complete enough for the investor. And you will copy and paste that message here. And I recommend that you personalize the message to the person you're reaching out to, starting out with Katie, or dear Katie, or hi Katie, however you typically address people in a message like this. Like I said, it has to be in your voice, not in someone else's voice. So the way you would address the person for people calling in from other countries where there's maybe a more formal culture, we typically don't use last names. We're not so formal in this type of event. We usually use a first name basis. Okay, so sometimes I get that question. I wouldn't start your messages, dear Ms. Bodner. I would say, dear Katie, or hi Katie, or simply Katie, as you start your message. Paste your message and send it off. Now, when you send off your message, it will create a blue bar, and you'll be able to see that message requested. And you'll be able to see how many messages you exchanged with that particular investor. Okay, so when you go back through, you'll be able to see exactly who you requested a meeting with. And if they accept the meeting, you'll see that. And if they decline the meeting, you'll also see that. So you'll know what the situation is as you scroll through in a few days and next week and the following week. It really makes it easy. Now, what happens when an investor has several attendees coming? So in this case, Apogee Ventures has 2 people attending the conference. So my recommendation is to reach out to both of the people, because you don't know who the best person is to reach out to for your particular technology. If you did know that, you would reach out to that person. But since you don't know, just reach out to both, and send your message to both. It just makes more sense. In the unlikely event that both people were to accept a meeting with you, you can easily explain that in a message and cancel the meeting with one, and hopefully have both on the line. Okay, so once you have sent out all of your initial meeting requests using Book a Meeting, to follow up, you'll use the tab Send a Message. And on the Send a Message tab, it'll look very similar. So if we click Send a Message to Arch Ventures in this case, put in a title, and I would put in that this is your second request. Just so Wei Han, in this case, knows that you have requested a meeting and are waiting for a response. And then you can put in third request, fourth request, etc. I just think it helps a little bit and lets the investor know what's going on. Okay, at this point, I'm going to have a look at questions. Okay, so when is the best time to start reaching out to investors? That's a really good question. I would say the best time to start reaching out is now, this week. And you will see, a lot of investors who are a fit for you at the conference. You can start reaching out, and when you come back on the database in a few days, you will see new investors. So what I recommend is once you've gone through the initial list and sent out all of your meeting requests, then when you log back in the future, there's something you can change that will help you see which were the last investors, the most recent investors to register. And the way you do that, you'll click, instead of order alphabetically, you click order by date approved. So these are the investors who registered recently, the most recently. These ones probably registered today or yesterday. And this will help you see the new investors first. And you'll go ahead and you'll put in your same criteria, but instead of order alphabetically, put order by date approved. So I don't think it's too early to start reaching out to the investors. I would begin this week, and then over the coming weeks leading up to the conference, be sure to follow up with those investors who you haven't had a response from. Okay, so that is the way the partnering platform works. It allows you to identify and understand a little bit about all of the investors who are attending. It allows you to reach out to the ones who are a fit for you. You can craft your message. You can create a compelling profile for your company. There is one thing I wanted to show you, and that is many of you have what's called Premier Partnering. And Premier Partnering is an upgrade to the standard partnering. So we're seeing the standard partnering here. If you have Premier Partnering, when you are reading about an investor, you just click here and it opens a separate tab. And in that separate tab, you get more detailed information about the investor. But very importantly, down here at the bottom, you get the investor's contact email. Okay, so for all of the 350 to 400 investors that will participate in the conference in November, you will have the contact information and a detailed description of the investor that's taken directly from the LSN investor database and uploaded from that database. So you get really good information, you get the contact information, and this upgrade, for those of you who don't have it, is $500, and you can upgrade anytime. Just let your BD person at LSN know, and we can help get you set up. So it's a $500 upgrade, but you do get a lot of really great information by doing that upgrade. So you read about the investor, you realize that it's a fit for you. So to book the meeting, you need to go back and you need to click to request a meeting. You click here and it takes you back to the main page where you can book a meeting with each of the attendees. So this particular investor has 2 attendees coming. And you just go through like that. So any investor that you want to read more about, you click on Resi Premium for the Premier mandate. Okay, just one last note here. The home page is where you will start every time you log on, and hopefully you will see this number, meetings confirmed. You'll see that going up every day when you log back in. It's really exciting to see, wow, I'm getting more meetings. And you can track that here. And you can also see how many meetings are awaiting your response, because you will get meeting requests from people attending the conference, and how many people need to respond to you, who you have requested a message with. And there's also the message tab, and this is like an inbox and an outbox. Very simple. You have inbox and you have the messages you've sent to keep track of. And that's about it. I will say that on the home page, you also have a video tutorial and you have a document that kind of goes through what we talked about today. And so if you forget anything, or if you have any questions, you can check out either the partnering, which is a PDF, Partnering 101, or you can see a tutorial similar to the one that we did today. And I would really recommend, over the next couple of days, we have 2 free fundraising boot camps planned. One of them is this Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And the next one is November 4th at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So, if you can join, I really recommend it, because we go over a lot of useful information about fundraising in general. And, you can apply that knowledge to your conference experience. And I think it's always a positive thing. So, are there any other questions at this point, or has everything been clear? I don't see any other questions, but I wish you the best of luck using the partnering platform. I'm sure you'll find it very intuitive and just really easy to manage, and you'll see the value of getting that information about which investors and which strategic partners to reach out to using our platform. And I hope you have a really great conference. So any questions that you might have, any doubts, remember to reach out to resi@lifesciencenation.com. I will send you the documents I promised, the slides and the sample tear sheet. And yeah, best of luck.